Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Into the CuseSportsTalk.com postgame show on Burdick Toyota. Thank you guys for tuning in. And Syracuse wins, Syracuse wins, Syracuse wins. Ring the bell, everyone. Shout it from the rooftop. Syracuse is finally back in the win column. Kyle Marshak with you here on CuseSportsTalk.com. 86-72 the final. Syracuse has won a college basketball game after a 4-game losing streak in the ACC that started with a loss at the lowly Boston College Eagles in Chestnut Hill, and then 3, what we would all say are decent losses. And now they finally get back in the win column against a team that, frankly, we all thought they should beat in the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Again, 86-72, the final score. Big stuff for Syracuse to get back in the win column. And now we can all kind of breathe a sigh of relief a little bit and say, all right, how can we build back up from here? And I think this win helps Syracuse kind of turn a page into February more than you would imagine. And it's not just because they won a basketball game and now they have this gauntlet of a schedule going forward. They made some big changes for the first time in like 5 or 6 games. Massive changes. And the biggest, most glaring one was Donnie Freeman not being in the starting lineup. As a matter of fact, Donnie Freeman only played 22 minutes. This is a guy that usually leads the team. He usually plays all except 2 throughout the contest. So let's go into a quick recap of this game. Now that Syracuse moves on to 13-9, 4-5 in ACC play, Notre Dame falls to 11-11 on the year, 2-7 in ACC play. Again, the big note before the game, Donnie not in the starting lineup. Sadiq White Jr. was in for Donnie Freeman. First half, just a few minutes in, Syracuse takes an early lead on a JJ 3. 12-8 Cuse, 7 minutes into the contest. And then Syracuse's defense got in rhythm. They forced a 4-minute Notre Dame scoring drought in the early portions of the first half. Donnie Freeman entered the game with 12 minutes to go after the second media timeout. So he waited almost a quarter of the game to get into the contest. And then they settled into a new rhythm, kind of fast break action, which is what we were calling for in the pregame show. 10 minutes to go in the first half. JJ already had 11 points. He looked like he was going to be the clear leading scorer. And then Nate King started popping off. Nate King's finished the first half with just 6 points. William Kyle contributed with a couple of alley-oop slams like he does. He also got a couple of really good swats. Tyler Betsy hit a 3. We got more minutes from Tyler Betsy today, which a lot of people have called for. 20 minutes for Betsy. So at halftime, it was 40-31. Looked like a pretty normal score to us, and then Syracuse started to separate in the second half. At halftime, they were shooting great, 61.5% from the field. And from 3, 50% overall. They were 6 of 12 at halftime. They were shooting the 3 ball a lot. We'll get to the Massage Envy hotline very soon. So J.J. Starling led all scorers with 17 points at halftime. Who would have thought Nate Kings would finish with a tie for his career high, 28 points? How about that? Again, Nate Kings just 6 points in the first half. So a big second half for Nate Kings. So coming out of the second half, same old, Syracuse attacking the rack more today, and that turned into a 43-31 lead out of halftime. Notre Dame tried to switch to a 2-3 zone, really didn't do too much. Cole Serta, a guy that's maybe smaller on this, what you would say, aggressive defense type of Notre Dame Fighting Irish squad, actually got a tack early in the game. We would see that that was not the last tack. Later in the game, JJ got elbowed by Kaler and left the game with a bloody nose. Moving on into the later portions of the second half, Cuse continued to attack the rack. 69-60 was kind of the last normal score we saw before Syracuse won on a 9-0 run with 5 minutes to go. It was 75-60, and they hovered around there to finish the ball game. And Kings finished strong, adding 7 points in the last 4 minutes. He just was rolling throughout the entire game with 1:45 to go. This is our play of the game. Nate Kings with an alley-oop slam from the rafters, and that was the play that kind of sealed it as he made it that 82-70 score. Again, the final score, 86-72. Syracuse is finally back in the win column. Nate Kings is our player of the game. Nate Kings has the play of the game. And with that, we have some positive vibes. Let's see what the hotlines want to say. Let's go to Pat in Syracuse. Pat, how are we doing, brother?
Hey, good. I figured I'd give you a call because you know how it's going to be when there's not a lot to complain. When there's not a lot to complain about and they win by double digits, you are probably going to get less calls because it's, I think people just find it more fun to complain. Well, I call regardless, and people can say what they want. There's been a lot to complain about and a lot to be critical of, but you know what? That's what my fanhood is you just hope for the best and prepare for the worst the way it's been the last 3 seasons. And that's kind of the MO of it. I mean, the only thing I'll say about the game, I thought overall they played pretty consistent energy-wise. I thought they had a lot of breakdowns. I mean, I thought Notre Dame was getting whatever they wanted at the basket, which was just very evident. I mean, anybody watching the game, Notre Dame was just, if they had done more of that and Syracuse had shot, a little worse from the foul line and obviously the 3-point line, it would have been a tight game.
Yeah.
But that's the way this league is. Reflecting on the season, you look at 3 or 4 games that.
You got me?
You got the commercials going.
Oh yeah. Oh geez, I don't know how the heck that happened. Let's see. Yeah, I'll turn that off. All right.
There you go,
it just started running. Sorry about that. All right. As you were saying, Pat.
No, just blame Pauly for everything, even if he's got nothing to do with it. It's always like by default.
Yeah. That's what Paul McCoy told me. He's just blame Pauly, but I'm too new. I'll do that in like 2 weeks.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
No, but the long and short of it is, when you reflect on the season, they're 3 or 4 free throws away from still being relevant, and they're just not. I mean, and that's the unfortunate piece. You steal one early against Houston. You take care of business against Hofstra and BC. You were obviously you played good enough to win. A couple more games, and you just couldn't get it done. The Clemson game, they were right there. And it is what it is. I'm glad because Moten was one of my favorite players, so it's nice to pay tribute to him and have it be one of the few entertaining Saturday games at that's not a 9:00 game on a weeknight, and it was a different vibe. So that's it. That's all I got. You might as well start your tally at how many calls you get, because I bet you only need one hand.
Well, we do have Chris in Syracuse up next. So Paul, I appreciate you for calling in, brother.
You got it.
All right, take it easy. All right, let's go to Chris in Syracuse. Chris, how we doing?
Okay, how's it going? I'm just going to reflect on the season. Like North Carolina, they're sort of a beatable team. I've seen them play numerous times this year. Like kind of SCO, they don't like they lack on defense. I don't know. I feel like maybe they're playing a little more better. Maybe they're back against the wall. Like they're more loose. They will be a favorite a lot of games, obviously. So maybe they'll just try and get the pack of the season, maybe 8-9 in the conference. Not good enough, obviously, look at NCAA tournament. At least give them a chance to give a one day off at the first round bye, hopefully. In the ACC tournament, hopefully that comes around. And if anything, hope this team at least improves by end of the season. I know they haven't so far, but maybe with the limited rotations, with not playing as much as coming off the bench, maybe this team will play a little better. I don't know as the season goes along. So hopefully this rotation might limit to improve everything. So,
well, let's have you speak for the Syracuse fan base real quick. What did you think about Donnie Freeman not starting the game? I mean, it was brief. Like he came in and still played 22 minutes. I'd be curious if that's a consistency going forward, but you mentioned the lineup changes. How did you like that?
Well, it's a little shocking. I didn't think that was going to happen, but it's not who starts the game, who finishes the game. I feel like maybe he's telling him maybe he's not playing defensively. Maybe it's why he put Sadiq White this time. I don't know. He's not a consistent effort as far as defense, and Honestly, if I were to choose, I would rather choose starting at the point. I would hate to say that. Put Nate Kings at the 2, put Betsy at the 3, Donnie Freeman at the 4, and put 5 Will McKyle. I feel like that's a better lineup because Nate Kings, he doesn't really shoot well anyways. I feel like probably can open up better players because he can go inside, he can kind of like penetrate and move around and get other players open, I would say, than as opposed to Nate Kings. I mean, Nate George,
Gotcha.
That's a better way.
Yeah.
That's a better lineup.
Kind of going big there. All right. I like it. Appreciate you, Chris.
All right. Well, take care.
All right. Take care. Again, guys, if you want to call in, give us your thoughts, and celebrate a Cuse win, 315-437-7644. We got the chat here on CuseSportsTalk.com saying, I'm a little too excited. But, guys, Syracuse is back in the win column. I'm just trying to bring positive vibes. I'm born and raised in Syracuse. Okay? I know the deal. I know that the odds of Syracuse making the NCAA tournament are slim to none. But at least we're more comfortable in saying that they will be in the ACC tournament, right? I mean, again, born and raised in Syracuse, I see the pessimism in this fan base. I've been a part of it. I know that there are struggles, and we shouldn't be this excited over a win against Notre Dame. But that's the fact of the matter right now. We really, really wanted a win. And unfortunately, we had to look at this season from the standpoint that they had to just go out there and win the games that they were supposed to win and not lose any that were bad. They definitely didn't go out there and win all the games they were supposed to win. But some of the losses were inexcusable up until this point. And the fact that this losing streak was kicked off with a Boston College loss, it felt like it deserved reprimandation, right? But now they're back in the win column. I'm trying to bring the positive energy because how can they build momentum off of, guys, not just a win, right? It is just another win, but a win where Coach Autry, for once, actually made a change. The definition of insanity is to do the same thing over and over again. I said this in the pregame show. It is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result. And finally, he said, I am going to do something different and create a different result. Now, we will see what a difference in minutes will look like for Donnie Freeman and for Sadiq White and for Tyler Betsy against a North Carolina. I mean, at the end of the day, real talent froths to the top of the ACC through and through. Ball don't lie. So, will Syracuse go out there and go on an amazing streak in February and early March and all of a sudden build an NCAA tournament resume? Probably not. Can they? They have the talent on the roster. But, again, the computers say 1.2% chance to make the NCAA tournament. And I don't think the computers are lying. I trust the computers, maybe not ChatGPT, but I trust the computers. So how can Syracuse build momentum from here and at least build a respectable resume by the time the ACC tournament comes around, where in all likelihood, no matter what happens, they'll have to go out and win the ACC tournament. Again, you guys want to call in, you want to go back and forth and talk about what they'd have to do for the rest of the season to give them a shot? 315-437-7644. But I think it is really important as a fan base that we recognize that Adrian Autry made a change. He didn't send out the same lineup. He didn't play everyone the same minutes. He didn't attempt the same playing profile. He said, guys, Donnie Freeman's not starting. I don't know if he showed up late to class, if he missed a film, if Donnie did something behind the scenes. Whatever it was, strategically it worked. Guys, it's been very bizarre. We've all talked about it and kind of ignored it a little bit. But we went through a regular season without Donnie Freeman, played our best basketball without him, saying, wow, Donnie Freeman's one of the best players in the ACC, easily the best player on the roster. He's a pure scorer. Probably the only guy on the roster who can go out and just get a bucket. Old head coaches used to run plays called backyard basketball. And they would say backyard, backyard. And that meant to the players, just go out and get a bucket. It wasn't a play. It was go get the ball and get a bucket. The defense is tired, go attack them. Donnie Freeman's the only guy in this roster that can actually do that against most teams in the ACC. So when he came back, we were thinking, wow, this team's going to get a lot better. And then they lost to Hofstra. They played a competitive ACC opening game against Clemson and lost. Very respectable loss. Won 2 games that every team should win in Pitt and Florida State. And then they rattled off this 4-game losing streak. And if you look at Donnie Freeman's plus minus, every other game in the losing streak was plus 18, minus 9, plus 10, minus 6. But his scoring was, for the most part, the same. I mean, he has his ups and downs like everyone else, but his averages are great. Okay? He's still the best scorer on the team. But there is this underlying issue that the team meets the eye, at least, does not run the same offensively with Donnie on the floor. Because without Donnie, they played really competitive, pass first, off-ball movement, attack the basket, aggressive defense style of basketball, where they didn't get in set plays. I'm good. And then, oh, now my mic is off. Okay. All right. Sorry, we're still figuring stuff out. Just on Cuse Sports Talk here. So, with that being said, now Donnie comes back, and the team's been up and down. What I can tell you is last game he had a scoring differential of plus 9. The game before that, it was like minus 9. But now we have Donnie back, okay? And he plays significantly less minutes this game. And how about that? Way better basketball, way better team basketball today. So let's talk about the overall stats in this contest. Syracuse, 86 points on 32 of 56 shooting. How about that? From beyond the arc, 10 of 25. So they shot 40% from beyond the arc, 57.1% from the field. Again, if you guys want to tune in, give me your thoughts, 315-437-7644. Out-rebounded them. They just outplayed them all over the floor today. 34-28 in the rebounding margin. 12 of 21 from the free throw mark. So we can live with 57.1% from the charity stripe. That's about the team average, unfortunately. That's something that we still need to see improve. And Syracuse controlled this ball game with consistent energy the whole way. Again, our play of the game that sold it was Nate King's alley-oop with 1:45 left to seal the game away. We're waiting for Coach Autry to hop onto the mic for the postgame presser. Postgame Coaches Conference brought to you by RomanoCars.com. Shop today from anywhere at RomanoCars.com. Let's break down all of the main players' stats. Before that, I believe we do have one caller on the line. Again, Nate King's our player of the game. 28 points, 11 of 17 shooting, 5 of 10 from beyond the arc. J.J. Starling had a hot start to the game. Only scored 4 points in the second half. 21 points, 5 assists. And he also had 9 of 13 shooting, 3 of 6 from beyond the arc. Nate George contributed the way he usually does. 4 points, but 10 assists. He was a guy I called for in the game beforehand to control the pace of the game, but let's minimize those turnovers. And then Donnie Freeman, only 22 minutes, 7 points, 1 of 4 shooting. So I want you guys to call in, 315-437-7644. What do you think of Donnie not starting this game, playing significantly less minutes and the team looking way better? I'd love your thoughts on that. All right, let's go hop on the phone line and go to Jake.
Start off by recognizing my former teammate, Lawrence Moten, was a good friend of mine, my teammate. I know Coach Boeheim and everybody came out today and spoke at halftime. So I just wanted to recognize him and his family. I'm close with their family, so I just glad that we recognize, a Syracuse great, and not even a basketball player, but also a human being. So, I want to start off by saying that. And secondly, I just want to thank our fans, all who came out in this weather. I thought they made a difference. The crowd was tremendous. So I wanted to thank them. I know our guys appreciated that. And on the game, I just thought it was a total team win. I thought our guys trusted each other. I thought we locked in on defense for 40 minutes. We haven't done that in a while. And, I thought we played with toughness. I think that's just the start of what we need to be like every game. That'll give us a chance. Any questions?
Adrian, what went into having Donnie start up on the bench today, and how do you feel like that, ended up hurting or helping your team?
No, I just thought, me and Donnie, we talked, and I just thought in this game particular, for some reason, I thought the matchups was a little bit better. Me and him, we talked, but he was ready to go. So it was nothing but just something like that, strategic game planning.
Was there any pushback from him at all? Or?
No, he was ready to go. He was ready. He's good. He's trying to win. He wants to win. That's the great thing about it. Had a great attitude. I think, again, having him come off the bench and for today, that was a big boost for us as well.
Do you expect to stick with that?
I'm not sure yet.
You just sit on 21 of 32 of your free throw shots today, and the ball will feel a little bit better. Do you have any explanation about why that happened?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
No, so you just done 21 of 32.
Oh.
And obviously the ball seemed to move better, and I'm curious about what your thoughts were, how that happened, and why that happened.
I thought we played with pace today. I thought Nate George and JJ really set the tone. I thought I thought we got the ball out of our hand. I thought we made quicker decisions, but the pace, the cuts, I thought everything was really good today. And it was the first time we had moved like that in a while. We haven't moved like that in a while, and so again, I'll keep showing them. This is what we've envisioned. We have to do it more. Not just in spots.
You came in with a 4 straight losses. Micah was just here. He said that was the beauty of having a couple older guys like Nate and JJ, so you can lean on. Did you say anything to any of your more veteran guys in the days leading up to this game?
No, I thought they took total leadership. I thought, again, JJ is the senior leader, and I thought he really, just the way he's, played and competed. I know we've come up short, but we all know JJ Lee. He can, like he got it going today. Like he can score in bunches. And I thought, his leadership in practice and his attitude, and him and Nate, I think they really set the tone. And I can't forget Will Kyle too. So I thought in this tough stretch, that our seniors really stepped up, and I thought our young guys got behind them.
I know it's been a few years since JJ transferred from Notre Dame, but what's it like to have a guy like him doing this for you, not for them?
I'm excited. JJ, I've known JJ for a long time, and when things didn't work out at Notre Dame, I think I was his first call. I hope I was his first call. But to be able to kind of watch him grow and mature here, and then to be able to kind of, again, it's always special to play against your former teammates, and and play well and get a win.
And when you called him, do you remember what you said to him?
Yeah, you need to come home.
Coach, you mentioned earlier in the week just kind of laying everything out on the table, whether that was schemes and combinations. How do you feel like your team responded to that as a team for last game?
I think they responded well. Again, I thought this was our most complete game that we've had in a long time. I really do. I thought we played with toughness. We played together. We recovered. Even when we made mistakes, we recovered. We contested stuff at the rim today. We got 50-50 balls. I thought that was the beginning of, that kind of set the tone. I think JJ got the first one. I thought that was huge. So, I was really happy the way they responded.
Cuse is your most efficient backcourt guy. He took the most shots he has this season. Did you do anything different or emphasize anything more to free him up, or was that just the guards?
I think the ball just moved more, and he's seen a couple go down, and we talked about as a team, trying to find guys like him, and him and Tyler Betsy when we get a chance to get them some open looks, because those guys shoot at an elite level. So I thought the ball moved a lot, but I also thought he was really more aggressive when he touched it. Thought he was really looking to get downhill, and we opened up the floor a little bit. I thought people played off of JJ and George attacking and kicking it out.
10 assists and no turnovers for George today. What did you see from him today that you haven't seen lately?
I just seen, he had control of the game. I thought he really set the table for us. Again, we acknowledged him after the game. Again, that's big time for us to be able to have 10 assists. He got everyone involved and took care of the ball. I thought he really set the table and took shots that came to him.
Coach, when you look at this game, like you mentioned before, honoring Lawrence Bowman, seeing his family here today, just how he lives on with you, how he lives on with Syracuse, and why it was so important to get a win tonight for him as he watches over.
Well, that's my former teammate, and I'm sure he's looking up saying, "You better get this one, bro." So, I was happy that we were able to come through, and his family was here to be able to, play well in front of his family, which are close friends of mine as well. That means a lot.
You mentioned opening up the floor, but you had Nate and Tyler on the floor quite a bit to get to. How does that allow you to open the floor a little bit?
You're talking about two elite shooters. They can't leave those guys. They shoot at a high level. I think they both were definitely over 40. I think Tyler might be a little higher, just not as many shots. But, two guys that can really stretch the floor. I think that helps, JJ, I think that helps Donnie. I think that helps, the whole team, whoever it is, whether it's, Cayenne or even our guards, like guys getting into the lane. I think it really helps our downhill guys with that stretching of the floor.
But more than losing, how have practices been this past week since the NC game? What is your mood among the players?
The one thing that I made a point of, I didn't want to see anyone's head down. No one's feeling sorry. Right? We can't feel sorry for ourselves. And again, I've said it before. I really believe in the team, and we got the pieces. So, and we've played well enough to win games. Even in this tough stretch, we played well enough to win games. And now we got 9 games left. So, the one thing we can do is hold our heads down, and that wasn't happening. They were competing. This is a good group. Again, JJ, our leaders really set the tone. They would not allow it. We practiced with some focus and intent.
All right, for one more, Coach, you talked about Donnie coming out the starting lineup and the inserts in each night. Can you speak to, the energy that he provided right off the bat? Play 20 minutes and he's after you defensively. Speak to what he meant to this.
Yeah, I thought Sadiq gave us a real big boost energy-wise, especially, Notre Dame has a lot of skill guys. We were able to really stretch our defense, and I thought he did a really good job of, setting screens, and he can talk. I thought he communicated really well for the rest of the guys when we were in coverages, and, he got to the glass. That's the one thing that I've always challenged him on is getting to the glass. I thought he did that really well, 6 rebounds. But, Sadiq is, he's just one of those guys that his energy is infectious, right? You feel him, and the way he communicates and he uplifts guys, and I thought he did a really, really good job tonight.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, that's the end of our post-game presser brought to you by Auburn Community Hospital. Again, if you guys want to call in, give me your thoughts on Syracuse finally getting back in the win column, 315-437-7644 on the Massage Envy hotline. Final score against Notre Dame, 86-72. We got people in the chat saying, I'm too excited, but I'm going to double down on it. I'm excited because Syracuse won and they made changes today. Donnie Freeman did not play that much, and in the post-game presser, Adrian Autry was pretty clear. Donnie didn't care that he wasn't starting. He was just ready to win. Seems, and of course he's going to say that, behind the scenes, everyone's all on the same page. And he said that he just thought the matchup was better without Donnie starting. With that being said, how about we go back to the Massage Envy hotline? And I think I've got a family member coming at us. Hey, Papa, you there? Papa, how you doing? I'm doing good. You and I haven't talked in a bit, so this is a good time to chat.
But anyway, just on a general note, what do you think about the transfers? one college to another basketball players. I noticed that, like, how well did Syracuse do on that? I noticed they lost to Gerard a couple of years ago, maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
And I know she just lost one recently. I think I saw him play for North Carolina.
Well, Papa, you growing up in Brooklyn, you always had a bright sports mind. So you do bring a very good point. Syracuse got the name, image, and likeness funding this year to bring in some good recruits. And Papa, you hit the nail on the head because our Oregon State transfer, Nate Kings, was the leading scorer today with 28 points. So you bring some very good points to the table, Papa. I really appreciate you for calling, and I love you.
I love you too. I love you too, son.
All right, let's catch up soon, okay?
Bye-bye.
All right, stay warm down there. All right, how about we go on to Jake in Iowa with his post-game thoughts. Jake, how we doing?
Hey, Kyle.
How we doing?
Thanks for taking my call. I got a commercial playing in my ear here.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, we're having some technical difficulties. If there's any way you can talk through it, I'm listening to you.
All right, no problem. So, listen, Adrian Autry has a communications degree from Syracuse, so his press conferences are the most boring things ever. But I will say this. There is precedence to taking your best player and putting him on the bench. That best player's name was Dion Waiters, who was also the number 4 pick in the NBA draft. So there is some history of this, but that team was also the greatest team in Syracuse basketball history, in my opinion. When Fab Melo was on the floor, they never lost a game.
Yeah.
This is that. But, you know, Donnie Freeman coming off the bench, there's more to this story than just, hey, we talked and we thought it was a good idea. I've got to believe there's more to it. So I hope we get more out of this story. Thanks for taking my call.
Of course. All right. Appreciate you, Jake. Jake equating Donnie Freeman not starting to when Dion Waiters wasn't starting on a starstruck Syracuse basketball squad about a decade ago. Well, actually more than a decade ago now. Time flies. It's 2026, people. So again, that's probably the main storyline as Syracuse snaps a 4-game losing streak. For the first time in over 2 months, Adrian Autry has played a significantly different lineup. And our best player on the floor, through and through, Donnie Freeman, did not start. And the offense passed the eye test with flying colors. Again, this is against a very average, if not slightly below average, defense in Notre Dame. Call in 315-437-7644. Give me your guys' post-game thoughts. Some more quotes from the post-game presser brought to you by Auburn Community Hospital, which is improving their team. Apply today at auburnhospital.org. He said Donnie didn't care that he wasn't starting. He was just ready to win. And regarding Donnie continuing to play off the bench, Adrian Autry didn't shut it down completely. He just said, I'm not sure yet. And honestly, I'm going to take some food for thought from Jake in Iowa. He brings a really good point. There are times in Syracuse history where we didn't start our best player because the team was better with him coming off the bench, being an injection into the game as opposed to the controller of the game. I actually really love that take. I don't think Donnie coming off the bench is a net negative. Yes, people are going to play the simple math game and say, guys, if Donnie Freeman, our best player, is coming off the bench, what are we doing? Why wouldn't you start your best player? I actually think this was a great move by Adrian Autry because the offense moved in rhythm and then Donnie Freeman joins it instead of starting the game with Donnie, who's a ball-first guy, which is fine. Donnie would be a great insertion in most offenses, not the offense that Adrian Autry wants to run, not with the speed and athleticism this team has. It's hard to run a pass-first, off-ball movement-heavy type of aggressive, fast-break offense when you have a guy that likes to post up or likes to take the ball in ISO and Donnie Freeman, and that's fine. That's why I believe it's a great move to have Donnie come off the bench, to continue this conversation of the pace and the movement being better, hence the success for Syracuse. One of my favorite quotes from the post-game presser The pace, the cuts, they were all great, Autry said. First time we've had moves like that in a while. He also said Nate Kings and Tyler Betsy are two elite shooters and complement each other, stretching the floor. And the final one, and kind of just a kicker in terms of the mood for this team, said we can't afford to feel sorry for ourselves. Hopefully they continue with that attitude, because tonight they had their biggest win since beating Stonehill 77-48 back on December 22nd, so in over a month, to finish non-conference play. And now Syracuse, with kind of a new look, hopefully carries some great momentum through what should be a very competitive finish to the season. 6 of their next 9 games left are quad 1 opportunities. With that being said, how about we take a peek at the ACC? At our peek around the ACC and the ACC men's basketball scoreboard, Duke won today at Virginia Tech pretty handily. They had the lead the entire game, 72-58. North Carolina got the job done and made Georgia Tech an 11-11 squad. North Carolina, number 16 team in the country, won 91-75 in Atlanta. Virginia, number 17 team in the country, circled this on your calendars. They're the 17th best team in the country, according to the coaches poll and the AP poll. They only won by 7 points today at Boston College. They also only won by 3 points in double overtime in South Bend 4 days ago. That's back-to-back really close games on the road for a team that's supposedly the 17th best in the country. Syracuse visits Virginia in 2 contests. They have back-to-back quad 1 opportunities coming up. If Syracuse wants to have a glimmer of hope of having an NCAA tournament resume on some sort of crazy turnaround, I think Virginia would be the easier of the options. They're not going to beat Duke. They're not going to beat North Carolina. Virginia is the only ranked team on their calendar left that I say they have a remote shot of beating, although they are visiting in John Paul Jones Arena. SMU lost 74-88 at Louisville. Cardinals did what they do. It's been pretty chalky in the ACC today. Clemson won at home 63-52 with Pittsburgh visiting. NC State visited Wake Forest. Wake Forest is still on the outside of the bubble looking in, like still in the conversation, and they are 11-11 overall now. They're actually almost a quad 1 opportunity if you visit them. So NC State won 96-78 there. Cal 86-85 in Miami. That's a close game between 2 teams that are on the bubble. And then, of course, Syracuse won today 86-72. And then Florida State won by 8 at home versus Stanford. And that's a little bit of an upset. So pretty chalky in the ACC. And I've got people in the chat saying, guys, this isn't going to happen, because of how ridiculously rare the odds are that Syracuse can go on a run and make an NCAA tournament resume. Guys, I'm just being frank. I want to be positive. I want to look at best case scenario. I grew up in Syracuse. I know what you guys are thinking, and I'm thinking the same thing. At this point, we can probably just chalk up the season to, can they make a run in the ACC tournament? Will that keep Adrian Autry's job? Well, look, I think Autry handled himself great in the presser today. I want to be positive as a journalist that's neutral, but I was born and raised in Syracuse. I sense your frustration. I remember the Big East days. I remember consistent NCAA tournament resumes and the 2-3 zone shocking teams to an extent that we would always make a run to the Sweet 16. We were the bracket busters. Right now, Syracuse hasn't been to the NCAA tournament in 4 seasons. So yeah, I am still focused on that. And yes, I am talking about the very, very slim odds that they turn things around. But again, nothing changes if nothing changes. And today, something drastic changed. And we got Mike McAllister in the chat saying Syracuse will not lose again today. And I agree with him. Today, they're 1-0. And they will go to sleep 1-0 today. We got to keep that positivity. So the upcoming schedule, 6 of their next 9 games are quad 1 opportunities. They are at number 22 North Carolina Monday, February 2nd. They'll probably lose that one. If there is a sneaky one that they can steal against a ranked team, I'd say it'd be at Virginia, a team who is defense first, like Syracuse. So it's a good stylistic matchup. And Virginia's been playing bad basketball recently. Then they host California. Again, a game where 4 games ago, let's say, I'd tell you, I don't know if they're going to win that because they just lost at Boston College. They seem to be dropping games that they're not supposed to drop. But right now, if they play the same form of basketball that they played today when they host Cal, they can win. And the same can be said versus SMU in 3 weeks. Then they're at number 5 Duke. That's not going to happen. Then they host number 22 North Carolina. Probably not going to happen. But we are talking about a team that won multiple top 10 games at home just 2 seasons ago. Okay? I mean, it's possible, but it's probably not going to happen. Then they visit Wake Forest, a team that's now 11-11, but still top 80 in the net. It could actually age into a quad 1 opportunity despite the record for Wake Forest. They had a strong non-conference schedule. Then they're at number 23 Louisville. Definitely not going to happen. Louisville's not losing at home this year. They refuse to. And then they host Pitt to finish off the ACC regular season before that tournament comes around. Will Syracuse make the ACC tournament? Yes. You've got to be top 15 out of the 18. They will make the ACC tournament. Will they be in a position where they'll probably have to go on a run and win the ACC tournament to make it into the NCAA tournament? It's extremely likely. But at least, later rather than never. They finally turned things around and made a change in the lineup, made a change in the style of play. Again, guys, if you want to call in before this show ends, 315-437-7644. That's 315-4ESPN-44. What do you guys think about Donnie Freeman not starting and there being a significant change in the lineup? Again, 6 of the next 9 games left are quad 1 opportunities. Next game at number 22, North Carolina, Monday, February 2nd, tip-off at 7 p.m. The odds are not out yet, but at North Carolina, I mean, I'd be shocked if it wasn't minus double digits for the Tar Heels, a team that is cruising right now. The ACC has 8 teams projected to be in the NCAA tournament with 2 more on the bubble, Virginia Tech and Cal. Stanford is in the extended bubble. So make that overall 11 teams that are within reach of an NCAA tournament in the ACC. If you told me before the season that Syracuse just had to be a top 9, top 10 team in the ACC to have a realistic shot of making the tournament, I'd say, okay, they can do that. They brought in the talent. Let's go 500 in the ACC, get a couple decent non-conference wins, which they did, finish top half in the conference, and sneak in as a 10 seed. I'd say that was very possible. Well, right now, they're a game below 500 in the ACC. They're not projected to finish 500 in the ACC with the tough schedule they've got coming up, and they probably won't finish top 10. And it's just one of those things like that old commercial with the dude dangling the trophy on the fishing line and saying, oh, you almost had it. All right, I believe we have a caller on the line, and never mind. They closed things off. So with that, I think we just try and stay on a positive note. Okay, Syracuse with an outside chance, but anything is possible. Syracuse at number 22, North Carolina, Monday, February 2nd. Tip-off coming at you at 7 p.m. I will have the pre and post, and we'll come prepared to talk about the possibility of an upset. Let's bring some positive vibes to Cuse Sports Talk. All right, guys. Thank y'all for hanging out. And, Paul, you don't want me to take the phone caller. You want me to take it? All right. All right, let's go to Marty in Tampa. Marty, how we doing?
Yeah, I think the guy who said there's more to the story with Donnie not starting has something there. Autry called it a matchup thing. Freeman is a borderline NBA draft choice, or definitely for the G League. There's nobody in Notre Dame's lineup that would not be a good matchup for Donnie Freeman. So I don't think this is the end of the story, like that guy said.
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. Like maybe he missed film or something, but regardless of what the reason was, Marty, don't you think the team looked a little bit better with him off the floor today?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you can't argue with the result. This is the best they've looked in a couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. So, maybe stick with it. But a matchup issue does not sound viable, because Donnie is better than probably everybody on Indy's team.
Well, I think the small thing you're missing is, yes, like one-on-one, Donnie's probably going to beat any guy on Notre Dame's defense, but I don't think it was about like how he matched up with specific players. I think it was the team itself. Like Adrian Autry wanted a fast break offense today. That's the type of offense that worked best in the non-conference schedule without Donnie. So in order to instill that against a team in Notre Dame that doesn't work well with fast-paced offenses, they're kind of slow back to the basket type of defense, it made sense to actually get less minutes for Donnie and put on guys like Sadiq White and Tyler Betsy. Sadiq White and Tyler Betsy were both close to 20 minutes today.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea.
I got you.
Your best player. Donnie can get out on a fast break. He's a great rebounder. He's good at free throws. Something doesn't jive with him not starting this game. But you can't argue with the result, like you said.
Right. You can't argue with the result. I agree with you. It is definitely peculiar that because it feels counterintuitive. Your best player not starting and the team, weirdly enough, playing better. I'd be curious. I know that you've been a Syracuse fan for a bit. Jake in Iowa called in earlier, and he talked about Dion Waiters not starting during a prime era of Syracuse basketball. And obviously, he went on to have a great career in the NBA. Do you think that's proof in the pudding that maybe it is a strategic advantage, or are you sticking to your guns? Maybe he missed a film session or something.
We had a Final Four caliber team, and Dion was a spark plug, microwave off the bench, came in, got hot.
Yeah.
We don't have that caliber of players on this team at all. You can afford to sit your best player. That was a masterpiece move by Boeheim, but everything's really fishy here.
Yeah, I agree with you. It came out of nowhere. I think the biggest piece, Marty, and I'd be curious your thoughts on this, was maybe just a reluctance to believe, from the fan base at least, that Adrian Autry would actually finally make a lineup change. Is that part of the shock to you?
I actually didn't hear that because of the commercials running. I didn't hear what you said. I'm sorry.
Gotcha. I was just asking you if you were shocked by the move, and maybe that's part of the surprise factor here, because Autry he's been reluctant to make lineup changes.
It was shocking. You're right. I think if we started Donnie in the Clemson game, we win that game, because without him, we were behind. We were down like 8-12 right away. We never made it up. So I didn't like it when he didn't start in that game, coming back from an injury. If you to play, you start him.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, Marty, I appreciate your time.
All right,
thank you. I think we've got one more caller coming up on the Massage Envy hotline. Thank you guys for calling in and giving us your thoughts. I think that's the main storyline. Yeah, Syracuse won a basketball game today, but having Donnie Freeman, your best player, coming off the bench and the team playing better, head scratcher, but it worked. And we look back to the time when Dion Waiters, who was a freaking microwave from three, would come off the bench for a team that would make the Final Four that year. And you see why it could be a strategic advantage stylistically. Did Donnie miss a film session? Did he show up late to practice? That's why he didn't start? I don't know. But whatever happened, the team looked way better with him off the floor, even though he is their best scorer. If this were a 3v3 league, Donnie Freeman would be the best player in the league, and he would work for every freaking coach. All right, so that's going to be the end of the Massage Envy hotline. Thank you guys for tuning in, sticking around and breaking down the postgame stuff as Syracuse gets back in the win column. They take on number 22 North Carolina Monday, February 2nd, tip-off at 7 p.m. We will have pregame coverage here at 6 p.m. on CuseSportsTalk.com and ESPN Radio. Big matchup. quad one opportunity, and maybe if they stick to their guns with Donnie Freeman coming off the bench, they'll go play with their hair on fire like they did today and like they did without Donnie in the non-conference. All right, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm Kyle Marshak on CuseSportsTalk.com, and we'll see you guys next time.